His name was Chinedu, a 32-year-old man with deep brown skin and kind eyes that seemed to reflect the goodness in his heart. Born and raised in the peaceful village of Umuse, Chinedu was the kind of man everyone turned to in times of trouble. Or so it seemed. He built boreholes when the village had no water. He paid school fees for children whose parents couldn't afford it. He even gave jobs to young men struggling to find direction. The elders blessed him. The youths praised him. And the women? They called him Okmio, the Great Spirit. But behind those praises, some hearts burned with envy. There was a former classmate who had always been in competition with Chinedu. While Chinedu rose through hard work and sacrifice, Ifani felt overlooked, like the world had given Chinedu what belonged to him. One evening, during a community meeting at the village square, Chinedu stood up to donate 20 bags of cement and roofing sheets for the new health center. The crowd clapped, some even shouted with joy. But Ifani, sitting in the corner, clenched his fists. Why is it always him? Must he be the only one people talk about? That night, jealousy took root like poison in Ifani's soul. He began to spread quiet rumors. Have you asked where he gets his money from? Do you think one man can be this generous without something shady behind it? And slowly, some ears started listening. The first blow came when Chinedu was invited by a radio station to talk about his charity work. Instead of congratulations, anonymous letters flooded the station, accusing him of fraud. Anonymous calls claimed he was using his good works to cover his dark business. Chinedu was shocked, broken. He sat alone in his compound one night and asked himself, "What have I done wrong? I gave my heart to this community." His younger sister, Ediora, sat beside him. She was 24, light-skinned, soft-spoken, and always full of wisdom. "Brother," she said, holding his hand, "even the moon that lights the night sky has enemies. Even Jesus, who healed the sick and fed the poor, was hated by some. You are light, and light will always attract shadows." That night, Chinedu realized something: being good doesn't guarantee being loved. Sometimes, it attracts hatred. But he vowed to keep doing good, not because of the praise, but because it was the right thing to do. But he didn't know, the storm was only beginning. Before I continue this story, tap that subscribe button. Follow this page. And drop your thoughts in the comments. His name echoed across Umuse as a beacon of light. He had become a living symbol of hope, a man who gave freely, loved openly, and carried the weight of the community like it was his destiny. But as his name rose, so did the shadows. And in that shadow stood Ifani, the boy he once shared a school bench with, now a grown man twisted by envy. One morning, Chinedu received a message. He was being summoned by the Umuse Town Council. "You are being investigated," they said, "for mismanaging public donations and exploiting community resources." He blinked. For a moment, the world went quiet. Me? Mismanage what? I use my own money, my father's land, even my salary. But the papers said otherwise. False documents had been submitted. Fake witnesses signed. And the one behind it all was Ifani. Ifani had crafted the lies carefully. He bribed 2 community men to sign a statement accusing Chinedu of diverting charity funds to buy land secretly. They filed it with the council, claiming, "We are whistleblowers. We want justice." And just like that, whispers became suspicion. Chinedu, the village hero, was now Chinedu, the suspected thief. At the village market, the tone had changed. "I knew it," one man said. "No one is that good," another replied. "Even pastors fall, talk less of him." The betrayal didn't just come from strangers, it came from the same youths he gave jobs to. The same boys he taught how to weld, farm, and repair bikes. Amodi, 23, once Chinedu's driver, now turned his face away when he saw him. "Let's distance ourselves before they arrest him," he told the others. Chinedu heard everything. He heard his name in mocking tones. He heard the rumors. He heard the silence, the worst kind of betrayal. One night, he walked home quietly. The moon was high. The road was empty. But behind the fence, two voices laughed. Chinedu go for. Just watch. All this saint act don't tire us. He froze. He knew that voice. It was Amadi. Chinedu stood still, his heart bleeding. Not because he was afraid, but because he genuinely loved these people. Back at home, he sat on the cold floor of his room. God, why? He whispered. All I ever did was try to help. Why am I hated for it? His sister Edeora, 24, came in quietly. She sat beside him, her eyes gentle. Brother, the more you shine, the more some people will go blind, she said softly. But don't let their blindness stop your light. Chinedu said nothing. But inside, something broke, then something new was born. He rose from the floor, wiped his face. Let them say what they want. I will not stop. I will not answer hate with silence. I will answer with more good. I will let my actions fight for me. But even as he rose with purpose, the fire of force would continue to spread. Ifoni was planning something bigger, something final. He wanted to see Chinedu's name buried for good. If they won't bring him down, Ifoni muttered to himself, I will. They had dragged his name through the mud. They had whispered behind his back. They had turned his kindness into suspicion. But one thing they forgot. The truth does not die. It only sleeps. And when it wakes, it roars. Weeks passed, and Chinedu kept silent. He didn't fight back with insults. He didn't curse the ones who betrayed him. Instead, he kept helping the needy quietly. He paid for a widow's surgery. He donated textbooks to a school. And even though some people still avoided him, others started to watch and wonder. How can a guilty man keep doing good? If he was really a fraud, wouldn't he have disappeared by now? The wind began to shift. And then, it happened. One of the men Ifoni had bribed, a carpenter named Obina, fell seriously ill. On his hospital bed, with death knocking at his door, he confessed everything. He told the truth. I was paid by Ifoni to lie against Chinedu. I never saw him steal a thing. He is innocent. Obina didn't die. He recovered. But his confession spread like wildfire. The village council reopened the case. Elders gathered. Even the town chairman came to Umu's in person. They called Chinedu. He walked into that council room with his head held high. Not proud, but strong. We apologize, the chairman said. You were wrongfully accused. Your name is clean. That day, tears ran down Chinedu's face. Not because of the pain, but because the truth had finally spoken and the lie had died. The next Sunday, the village square was filled. Men, women, children, elders. They came to celebrate him. Not because he was rich, but because he remained good when the world was cruel. Edora stood beside him, smiling proudly. I told you, brother, the truth always wakes. And Ifoni. He tried to run. But shame travels faster than footsteps. He was rejected by the same people he tried to poison. His name faded, while Chinedu's light only grew brighter. Speech balloon final message. Goodness doesn't guarantee love. Even when you help, some will hate. Even when you give, some will gossip. But no matter how far lies travel, the truth will always catch up. Let your light shine, not for praise, but because that's who you are.